Bonjour everyone and welcome back to my channel, The Waves of Your Soul. My name is Marine and it has been a hot minute since I've been here on this channel. And I thought what better way to come back than just doing an easy, flowy video talking about things I love, which I'm sure if you're on this channel means you love too, which are tarot and oracle decks. So I've not been on the channel for a while because I suffer from chronic pain, so I was having a bit of a flare-up and was going through all of that. And really what helps me in my personal practice to kind of tie me back up to my values and help me kind of stay positive and go through my shit, let's be honest, is tarot and oracle decks. And they really are for me an invaluable tool that allow me to really dig through the dirt that I might be facing and try to turn all that soil into, you know, good soil that would allow me to then plant better seeds, and also just that allow me to kind of head on any problems I might be having, and yeah, just especially when I'm having a rough time or I'm having some health problems or whatever, then this is a practice I usually go back to. And so I thought today I would show you my favorite decks that I go to at this moment, that I've been recently going to grabbing and just working with when I just need some guidance, I just need some answers, I need to retune, reconnect back with my intuition, reconnect back with my guides, and just kind of refocus on what is really important to me and just find that lifeline to help me navigate the waves of my soul. So let's get started. I thought I would share with you my current favorite tarot and oracle decks, and hopefully, you know, it'll give you ideas if you're on the lookout to buy one. It's nice to see what they look like, how they work, and yeah, I hope you enjoy it. So today to share with you I have, I think, 3 oracle decks and 4 tarot decks. So let's start with tarot decks first. Okay, the first one I'm gonna grab at random is actually quite recent acquisition. This is the Neo Rider. It's from the Neo Rider Tarot collection, and this is the one, I forgot the exact name of it, but it's the one that is metallic. So if you go on her Etsy shop, which is or you can go on her website, which is at Wheel of Fortune. Oh, hopefully it will focus. There you go, wheeloffortunetarot.com, or you can go, if you type on Etsy the Neo Rider Tarot, you're gonna find different ones, different versions. They are all Rider-Waite-Smith replicas that have been reworked in different ways. And the one I have, which is very slippery because it's actually plastic, this is the one I have, and I chose because, like I just said, it is plastic. So not only are the cards super bendable, they're super bendy, and they're waterproof, which I love because I've actually been able to like use them everywhere, in the bath. Who doesn't love to do tarot spreads in the bath, right? In nature, I can take them to the beach, I can take them when I go hike, on like walks or whatever, and if I sit on it I won't be mad because they're literally like so durable. So that's my favorite outdoors tarot. And the other great thing about this one is that it's absolutely gorgeous because it's reflective, and I love the colors that the color work they've done on it. So it's just pure traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, but like I said, reworked. The colors are slightly different than your regular ones, and I just love how vibrant the colors are on this kind of like golden plastic feel. So it's absolutely beautiful. It's so gorgeous. So if you're a beginner who's like deciding to learn from the Rider-Waite, but you want something a bit more that you can take everywhere with you, that, you know, you won't mind if it gets wet or anything like that, I really recommend this Near Rider one, especially this one, which is in the black box, because it's just so pretty. And these are the backs, by the way, which are also gorgeous. I love how purple this Page of Cups feels. Like, it's just really giving me that third eye chakra kind of intuition, and it's just beautiful. Anyway, so this is the Near Rider Tarot. I'll try and put the links below. The one thing I'll say about this deck is that it is super slippery because it is plastic, so literally it flies everywhere, and it just, there you go, if you put it down it will just slide like very easily. So, but you know, that doesn't bother me. So that's the first one I wanted to share with you. There you go. Next tarot deck I've been really loving, and this is the Goliath Tarot. Now this is an indie deck, but I believe you can purchase it on Amazon or directly on Goliath's website. This is the guidebook, which is fantastic. I actually have the second edition. The first edition of the cards were much bigger. You could really see the images a lot better, but I knew that the cards would be a bit harder for me to work with, so he reissued the tarot deck with like smaller cards, and it's actually perfect. It's like really nice matte cardstock, and it's just gorgeous. So before we go in the images, the guidebook is fantastic. It opens like this, which I think is super fun, and it just gives you a ton of details between, you've got the image here, like really nice size, and then you get about 2 pages for a major arcana and maybe 1 page for the minor arcana cards. There you go. But it's just awesome, and this deck is all black and white, and it's all very shamanic, very natural, only animals, no human in this deck. Oh, like I said, this deck is all animals, and it's 78 cards, so a major arcana with like 4 suits in the minor arcana, but at the same time he's also created some oracle cards that I've just put in my deck all at once, because you get it all together. So I just mixed mine in, and this is one of them, Nature, the Seed of Life. Here we have the Knight of Cups, the 8 of Pentacles. So as you can see, the deck is totally different from the one I've just shown you before, which is the Rider-Waite-Smith. So the Page of Cups, for example, doesn't look at all like the traditional imagery, but it's definitely, I would say, still Rider-Waite-Smith based, or I should say Smith's weight based, because, you know, 8 of Wands, we're used to seeing in the 8 of Wands 8 wands going really quickly, showing velocity, quick movement, and with the meteor shower here you still get that vibe. So the Strength card here, we're used to seeing a woman cuddling a lion, and here you still get the lion vibe, but obviously this one is a lot more powerful, a lot more potent. So this deck is not for the faint-hearted, because some images might be a bit shocking, but let me try and find one. You know, the Devil is one that I know will scare some people off. This Tower card, for example, you know, it's sad. Like, obviously the Tower card is always a bit traumatic, but this one, you know, is a lot more potent, I feel, than just a tower falling apart. So I must give a special shout out to my friend Julie, because it's thanks to her I got this deck, because it didn't deliver where I live in Rainian Island, so I had to ask her if I could get it delivered to hers, and then she sent it over to me. So thank you so much, love, because I love it so much, and I'm so glad. And now every time I use it, it just, you know, I'm very grateful for all my wonderful friends in my life. So this is a Judgment card, for example, which I personally have had a bit of a hard time with, because it just reminds me of well, global warming and the fact that the planet is just going to shit. And this polar bear just looks like he's drowning, and you just want to get in there and help him, but obviously I think it's so perfect linked with the Judgment card, because, you know, you still see that light coming up at the top, and you're just thinking, you know, is there like some kind of iceberg that I'm not seeing? So is he gonna be okay, or is it Judgment because, you know, I'm like me, the person looking at this picture, while looking at this picture, I'm working on like seeing how I can potentially do some better work in terms of ecology and, you know, being like a advocate for the planet. So I don't know, this deck just really helps by the very potent imagery. It's kind of like, I'm not gonna lie, you know, it punches you in the stomach. Oh, here we go. This is the devil card. Now this I know is gonna be very problematic for some people because it, you know, it gives that Satan vibe, like, not today, Satan. This is tough to look at, but at the same time, I think this is my favorite devil card of all my decks, and I have a few, because yeah, it's like, at the same time you see the goat and it's freaky, but if you look closely you'll see the little serpent here, and you realize the goat is probably just a puppet, and it's the serpent which is whispering things into the goat's head and just getting the goat to be his puppet. And I just love this interpretation, you know. So this tarot deck is not for, definitely not for like asking, I mean, you could use it for anything, but it's like, it's quite punchy. It won't take any detours to make you face your shadows, because it was intended to be a bit disturbing, a bit like raw and very shamanic, but at the same time, I don't find it scary or like too violent in any way. I think it's very gentle in the, like, it's like in the way it makes you face things. It is still so gentle. Like, I absolutely adore this hangman. It's just so beautiful. I love monkeys, so yeah. I think despite some cards that are quite raw, this tarot deck is very, very it's still gentle, and because it just is very balanced, which is what I love in most of my decks. I need balance. I need it to show light and dark, and even though this is supposed to be a shadow deck, I don't think it's completely shadow. I think it's very good at delivering healing messages. This is what I was looking for. This is a very healing deck to me, because it allows me to go through my shadows, but at the same time it will show me ways in which I can turn them into lighter, more useful parts of me, and it's wonderful. I can't recommend this enough. So this is the Goliath Tarot deck, and I've been really loving this, especially when I've been needing a bit of a kick up the butt. So moving on to the next deck I wanted to talk about, which is another tarot deck, which is a Holy Spectrum Tarot. Now, oh sorry, Tarot of the Holy Spectrum. This is the first edition, which is out of print, but I believe that if you go on their website, Tarot of the Holy Spectrum, they are going to be reprinting a second edition with, I think, a new box, because it, you know, so just have a look. It's definitely not going to be the last time this deck is printed, even though it's indie deck. So these are the backs, which are black and matte and lovely, and the cardstock is just wonderful. It came already edged. Those cards are just super great quality. I absolutely love them. And now the way that I love this tarot deck currently is because the fact that it was based on the spectrum of colors. So let me fan them out for you so you can see. The deck was based on yes, the spectrum of colors. So in each suit you get very vibrant colors. Each card is like 1 to 2 colors, and it's so potent. And how I've been loving to use this deck currently is when I need some creativity boost, because I think it's great. For me, this is a very fire deck, even though like I said, it's got a lot of colors, so it's very balanced. It's still got that very vibrant, active fire energy, which this is gotta be my favorite magician card ever, because I love this idea that with the magician you're like channeling something out of you into the world using the tools that are at your disposal. I just love the depiction in his deck. I believe that he used Lindsay Mack's courses on the wild, let me just, I don't want to get this wrong, Tarot for the Wild Soul is the name of her course, and this is, I believe, her partner who made this. But Lindsay Mack offers a course on the tarot called Tarot for the Wild Souls, and I did take that course. It was fantastic and I can't recommend it enough. And her partner, based her teachings and created this tarot deck, and it's really awesome, like the way that, you know, the archetypes are represented. And to me, it's a great deck to come to if you need some creativity boost, if you need to reactivate that kind of fiery passion energy in your life, because the colors are just so drawing here. They really take you in. It's really good for, again, a kick up the bottom. So I love this Queen of Swords. And this Judgment card, which here they call Awakening, for me changed very much the way I looked at Judgment. I have a thing for Judgment cards. But look at this. She's like waking up from the Matrix and taking off the blindfold, and I just find that so powerful. I just love, but see how this Judgment card is completely different to the polar bear, like struggling to breathe, that we saw previously. This is why I love tarot so much, because one concept you can like represent in it so many different ways, and it's gonna allow your intuition to work in so many different ways. So anyway, it's like this kind of childhood memory that we all, you know, might want to hold on to. It's just wonderful. This grade is awesome. So it's definitely the current favorite of mine, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So don't hesitate. Like I said, I'm sure they're gonna be reprinting it. So if you go on Instagram, I'm trying for this to focus. Come on. There we go. It's on Instagram at Holy Spectrum Tarot or tarotoftheholyspectrum.com. They're gonna be reprinting ones soon, I'm sure. So just you can get in touch with them to ask more questions. This is the Janessa Jaus Tarot, or Janessa Jaus. I'm not sure how you say this because the creator is Spanish. I'm tempted to say Janessa Jaus, but I don't want to like butcher it, so I'm sorry. Again, this is an indie deck. You can find her on Instagram at Janessa Jaus or Janessa. Again, sorry if I'm like not saying that right. Currently this version is not printed, but I know she's gonna reprint some. You again just head on her Instagram and you'll be able to find more details. She also is a creator of the Stunning Tarot, which I have and I adore, but recently, because this is a new edition, she released very few small batches of decks. Those are the backs, and this is a pip based deck, so she releases very few decks every time she makes them. And this time she just was releasing this deck, which is a pip based deck, like I said, in this kind of like greens and this format, and I just had to jump on it. So, but yeah, again, if you want to find her on Instagram, I think she's going to be reprinting it. So this deck is actually in Galician, I think, Galician, which is a I don't know if it's a dialect or how you say it, but of the Spanish language. So you'll see here the names are in Galician, and it's very pipish. So, you know, cups are cups, and the swords are gonna be swords, and you know, it's like, it's very different and potentially a bit harder to read for beginners, because it's just, it will you'll have to be more reliant on numerology, your knowledge of previous systems, as well as, of course, using your intuition. But this tarot deck, it uses mostly green and yellows, and I just find it so healing, because it really, for me, this is like the deck I go to when I need that kind of like healing nature vibe, when I need that kind of hug from Mother Nature. It's really, really good for that. It's just so beautiful. I love her line work. This is the Ace of Swords. The King of Swords gives me very much Game of Thrones villain vibes. You know, the Ice King, is that what he's named? The one that can turn people into zombies. Yeah, it's just really nice. So this is the Eight of Cups. Yeah, I really love going to this deck for those kind of nature-based healing energy. For me, it gives me wonderful readings, very intuitive, very compassionate, gentle and healing, and sometimes you just need that. But it's still very balanced, like it's definitely not a fluffy deck. This is a Hangman, the Sun, the Two of Wands. So I will say that this is a female, well, very female heavy deck. There are like more masculine looking characters in the Kings and the Knights, but mostly it's more like female looking characters. So just to, you know, mention that in case it's a problem. But you know, it's just, it depicts things very differently to what we're used to. For example, this is a Ten of Swords, which at first when I drew it, it really, you know, made me stop, because sometimes, you know, Ten of Swords, you see that guy with 10 swords in his back, like spiritual acupuncture. You know that when you see it, you're like, okay, he's literally being impaled by all those swords. It's, yeah, the pretty much like shit has hit the fan and things are pretty tough. And you know, we know that card so well. Like, I feel like Ten of Swords, even people who don't know tarot know the Ten of Swords. And but this one, it just doesn't give you that despair vibe that we're used to see. And yet, it really makes you think about, okay, how can I, you know, if I have to put my knowledge of the Ten of Swords away, how can I reconcile part of that with the image here, and also using my intuition to kind of make a meaning out of it. So I just love the fact that this makes me a bit uncomfortable in a good way. Like, it makes me not rest on my laurels. I'm sorry, by the way, if I get some words mispronounced, or, you know, English is not my first language, I'm actually French, so I'm trying to like not make up my own sayings, but please feel free to like you know, tell me in the comments if there are some sayings I'm saying that are wrong. I feel like resting on your laurel is definitely a thing though, but anyway, I feel like this makes me think outside the box, and just, it helps me to not be in that autopilot mode that sometimes we can get to when we've been reading tarot for a while, where we're just so used to cards looking the same, and you know, you don't even pay attention anymore almost sometimes to what the card looks like, or you're like, okay, Ten of Swords, yep, I know what that looks like, I know what this is. This is actually a great one to like work on your intuition, and just, yeah, makes you think outside the box, which I really appreciate. Okay, last tarot deck is, I think, one that we don't really see that often, like and I think it's something people sleep on a little bit, because it's the Cosmic Tarot. I've got the French version because, like I said, I'm French, so some of my decks are in French, some of them are in English, because I lived in England for 8 years, so I still get some of my stuff from there. These are the backs. I believe this is AGM, yeah, AGM. So this is mass market. You can find it very easily in Amazon, or, you know, Book Depository, or whatever you guys use to get your decks. But so this is definitely, I think it's still in order. Yes, because I was studying this deck and then I put it back in order. So let me just, here you go, this is the full. So I feel like people sleep on this deck because it's just, it's very cosmic, you know. I think it's from the 70s or the 80s. So the look of it, or maybe, I think 80s, but the look of it is very, it's got that kind of vintage. People look crazy, like there are some crazy cards in here. You know, people are very androgynous. I think a lot of people are very gender neutral, like you can't really say what gender they are, and I love that, because it's something very important that I think people need these days, is feeling represented on all of the spectrum of the gender. So I love that people are very androgynous. I love how crazy some of those cards are. Let me just push it a bit higher. It's just totally bonkers. Like, it's giving you that 80s kind of like, you know, Iggy Pop kind of vibe. Like, it's very, very, very different. but at the same time it's really clever, really clever. It's just, yeah, it's super different. It's called the Cosmic Tarot, so obviously there's going to be some cosmic vibe, but at the same time I find it quite grounded. And what I love in this tarot deck mostly is the movement of the people. Like, there's a lot of dancers in this deck, there's a lot of movement. Like, look at this Four of Wands. You know, people are not static, it's very flowy, it's alive. This tarot deck comes with a little white book, but I've actually purchased there's like a book that you can get from it called the Cosmic Tarot book, which I have on my Kindle because it was so cheap. On, like, you can get it on your tablet for super cheap, and it's awesome. Like, the book that came with it separately is really good. I really recommend it. It's written really well, and there's actually some great social commentary around you know, justice and like equality, and the fact that we need to be more. This is a very scary Ten of Swords. Like, it bothers me sometimes, somehow, but at the same time it's awesome. Yeah, so I feel like the guidebook was ahead of its time, because already in the guidebook it was talking about, you know, things that are still relevant now, around needing to like defund some of the police, and just like social equality and all of that. So really, really awesome deck. Very unusual, very very different to anything I have, but I love it and I really recommend it. So this is that, and I think we're done with tarot, so we're gonna move on to oracle decks. So the first one I wanted to talk about is actually an independent oracle deck, which is called the Begin Oracle. You can find it on Etsy. I will put the link below. This is the guidebook that it comes with, which is huge and fantastic. This has got to be one of my top 3 favorite oracle decks of 2020, and that says a lot because I have quite a few decks and I'm very picky when it comes to oracle. This oracle is fantastic. So like I said, it's an independent deck. Every card you'll get some kind of a message, keyword. Some of them you get mythological association, some of them you get season, or sometimes you get a crystal ally or a plant ally. And it's just really, really well done. There's so much effort and love went into this, and there's actually a lot of cards on this. Like, I think it's like 60 or something cards. I can't remember. There's a shit ton of cards in this deck. Like, yeah, I won't find how many, but a lot more than your regular 40 cards. So this was a little bit more expensive than like usual oracle decks, but oh, here we go. 72 cards, but it's, like I said, it's independent, and it's beautiful, and it's really well done, and there's just a lot more cards than what we're used to. So you can find the deck at Little Magic, well, there you go, I won't even try to say that, or you can find it on Etsy at Little Magic, I believe. I'll put the link below anyway. This is where I got it from Etsy. I love what Stacey Jane did. Her collage style artwork is beautiful. Here is the back of the card. So this is it. Anyway, each card you'll get a number and a keyword, but the images are so intuitive, so beautiful. It's a collage style deck, but it really, the keywords are very expensive, I find, and that's super important to me. I don't like to be restricted with keywords. I like them to allow me to flow with my intuition. This is a very balanced oracle deck. It tackles more shadow side as well as light side. You know, it's very well balanced, and like, for example, this night vision, you know, is a bit more shadow, and I love this deck so much. I love the fact that it has so many crystals, because I love crystals. I love the fact that it has, look at this, Don't Let In. This is one of the more shadow cards as well. I love the fact that it has so many hands and animals and crystals, and the collage style of it, it just speaks to my soul so much. Like, I don't know how to explain. It's like, this really felt like it belonged in my life. As soon as I saw this oracle deck, I knew I had to buy it because it speaks to me. And every time I look at this sleigh card, I love this. every time I drew cards from this, it's so powerful, like so powerful. The messages are so powerful. Yeah, this is definitely a very, very top favorite. I think I might do a separate walkthrough of this deck because I don't see a lot of people talk about it, and I think it's a shame because it's gorgeous, it's powerful, it's really well done, it's so clever. Yeah, I think like everyone should get this. It's wonderful. So let me know in the comments if this is something you'd like me to do a walkthrough of it. But yeah, this is the Begin Oracle by Stacey Jane. There you go. Okay, moving on. I think second to last, and I'll go on this one very quickly because I feel like a lot of people are familiar with this one. But this is another favorite. Oh, a little feather. I forgot to put that in there. Found it the other day. This is a Wild Unknown Archetype Oracle deck by Kim Kranz. This is a mass market deck that you can get on, you know, all the usual websites. This is actually one of the, I think it's the second deck I have that's round. The box, it comes in a big box, but then it also comes in a smaller box, so, you know, one of those. And this is, like I mentioned, an archetype deck. This is just a really well done oracle deck because every card either depicts a, like I said, so a tool, an archetype of a tool, of a person, or a concept. And what is awesome about this deck is the guidebook, because I wasn't very familiar with archetypes before I bought this deck, which is why I bought it, and I think it's just really well done. So for every card you'll get keywords, you'll get a little message, you'll get a light message, a darker message, and then you, what is for me the best part of this guidebook is you get she writes here go deeper, where you get like keywords or songs or books to read, or, you know, maybe movies to watch or artwork to look up to, that is gonna allow you to go even deeper into your understanding of what that archetype is trying to tell you. So the archetype I'm currently working with, is currently on my little altar is like the Creator, which is the one I'm working with for this month. Well, how I like to work with this deck is I'll just draw one to two cards, and I'll just put it out and study it for a month. It's very heavy and very, not heavy, that's not the right word, but it's very, let me show you some cards while I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to say. It's not a light deck that you can just grab and pull a card and go off. This is the kind of deck that is going to require you to do some work, because it talks about very like profound themes and patterns that are at play in your life. So I think it's very much enough to pull 1 to 2 cards to work for quite a long amount of time. It's not the oracle deck I would pull to just ask a quick question about like how is my weekend gonna be, you know. This is a lot more deep than that, but at the same time I find it very easy to access. Like, I've pulled some cards from my friends from this, and it's super on point, like really on point. It's very balanced. Again, it's got some lighter cards and some darker cards, which I love. Darker concepts, like for example this Underworld card, you know, is more shadow kind of card, which I think is important to have a very balanced deck, as I mentioned before. And yeah, just because it talks about, or there you go, the shadow. Just because it talks about deep things, I don't think it makes it like a very, you know, quite an intellectual deck that's hard to grasp. I think it's very, it's for everyone. It's just the kind of deck that you're gonna want to spend some time with, if that makes sense. Last deck, which is actually a French deck. So I don't know. I've got, you know, if some, I'm French, so obviously I know some people who are gonna watch my channel are French, so I wanted to include this, and also in case some of you guys watching here are French as well, you might want to pick this up. But this is called Les Messagers d'Égypte, and it's from Iliad is the name of the author. And you can find this is like in like Amazon France or Lafnac or all of the French kind of, you know, French Amazon and all of that. But even if you don't speak French, you can just use the Google app translation and just scan the page and like read the messages, you know. Technology, it can do so many things, right? So it's another one that comes in a box, and then it's a box in a box, and I actually had put it a bag. I added the bag because I wanted to like be able to take it with me. But this is an oracle based on Egyptian mythology. So let me show you the cards first so you can get the vibe. Another feather, because I've been finding them everywhere lately. I thought it was very nice to go with the whole matte and justice kind of vibe. These are the backs, and I've actually edged this deck in orange. I thought it was really cool because it's got quite a lot of orange, and the cards are really good quality. So every card represents in a like Egyptian mythology god or goddess. So you've got Horus. I actually don't know how to say those in English, to be honest, so maybe I just won't even say them because I don't want to fuck it up. But the Sphinx here, I just want you to get an idea for this gorgeous artwork. So like I said, every Anubis, every card depicts either a god or a goddess, and the artwork is wonderful. And what I love also about this deck is I've been doing a lot of study at the moment on Egyptian mythology. It's one of like my current study projects that I'm really reading a lot about it. So I actually could make a video about all the books and stuff I'm using to study it. So if you want me to do that, just let me know in the comments. But what I love about this deck is that even if you don't necessarily know who all those divinities are, which I didn't, I think it still gives you some hints as to what they could be linked. For example, Geb is actually linked to Earth. He's like a god linked to the earth, nature, and you get that vibe from like the fact that it's very green, that he's surrounded by, you know, trees, and it just gives you that influence that he's gonna be a god linked to nature, right? Like it's just, even if you don't really know it, intuitively looking at the cards, at the colors and at the little symbols, you'll be able to get some idea. But if you don't know, you can always go to the guidebook. So the guidebook is really well done. You get full page color, and then you'll get keywords. You'll get a little message as to who that divinity is, and then you get a divinatory message, and then you get somewhere to write your notes, which I don't know, does anyone uses those? Like, I don't know, I would never dream of using that because it's like too pretty. I have my own separate tarot journal, but yeah, let me know. Maybe I'm just too precious with my stuff, I don't know. But yeah, it's really cool. And like I was saying, even if you don't speak French, I think you can just use Google Translate app and you can scan the page and read it, or you could always like do your own research, because the names, you could just Google the name, use like, you know, the keywords are quite easy to translate, and then you could always use a name to then do your own research and find out what that divinity means to you. But to be honest, I think the divinatory message are okay, but that's not really what I use a deck for. I use it more as a study tool, and also like, again, once a month I'll pull a card to see like what divinity might has a message for me, and then I'll do my own research and see what it stands for, or what she stands for, and what their story are, and what, you know, what they represent, and then I'll see how that fits in with my life at the moment. So really, really great deck if you're into Egyptian mythology. I highly recommend it. And this, my friends, is the last of my decks, of my current favorites. So thank you so much for watching if you've made it this far. I'll try and put links below of all the decks, or at least the names. I'll put the names below of all the decks I mentioned. If you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe to my channel, because I'll be posting a lot more videos on tarot oracle decks. I'll be doing collective readings and pick a card readings and all of that good stuff. And in the meantime, I'm sending you lots of good vibes, and keep navigating the waves of your soul. Bye!